Hi everybody, this is Caroline Power. Hi Louise, nice to see you here. So I thought I'd come around and give you Q&A for our sugar challenge starting on Tuesday. Whoop, whoop. I'm so super excited to be helping everybody and go through all that, everything, because to be honest, it's going to be for the first 7 days, but then moving on from that, I have considered leaving the group open so that we really become a community. We're going through this detox really together, and everything else is going to be included in your life, forever really. You could just take what feels right to you, what you can actually add. Hi Carissa, yes, I'm glad you're here. Great. So let me just start by talking a little bit about Idavani. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name, Idavani, but she asked, how did I get started on my journey to sugar detox and the research? Was it because of health issues or for a healthier living option? So I thought I'd start with that question because it's quite important for me to tell you guys that I am a dietitian. I've been a dietitian for almost 14 years now in the industry, and it actually started when I was a teenager. I won't go through a long story here, but it started when I was a teenager and I suffered from eating disorders. I just didn't know what to do, body images, you know how it is, when we're teenagers and we're suffering from everything like that. So I suffered from body image issues and sorry, it's Australia, there's a fly. It scared me. So I pretty much did what I thought I knew what to do, which was go to uni and learn how to eat, learn how to become a dietitian. And I found that, that really helped. But until I actually got my mindset right, I didn't actually healthily live my life. Even being a dietitian, I got married, worked in the industry, put on about 20 to 25 kilos, especially after babies. And when my son was 6 months old, I was 81 kilos, and it didn't matter that I knew what to do. I would still had to, I still had some issues of my own. And I started applying everything I knew to myself. And I lost the 20 to 25 kilos I had. Actually, I lost 25. I put on a little bit more now. I am 5 years older now, but I also exercise, so it's all lean muscle. And my journey with the sugar detox really started because I realized that I had a sugar issue. Who doesn't, right? And I actually thought to myself, look, I need to remove those added sugars. I need to remove those preservatives. About 5 years ago, or actually about 4 years ago, I was introduced to naturopathy and herbs and everything like that. And I was like, well, actually, I shouldn't be telling people to have Diet Coke. I shouldn't be telling people to have, Red Bull and things like that, because this is really toxic to our bodies. And, it's something that I obviously had to learn, but that's how my sugar research pretty much started. I always try things on myself. I always make sure that I implement it on me before I tell others to do it. Doesn't matter if I know the theory, it has to work in practice, right? So that's how it started, and it wasn't really any specific health issue, although when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had gestational diabetes. So with gestational diabetes, as you know, you do have to watch out the carbohydrates in itself. Didn't matter, it wasn't really about the sugars, it was about the carbohydrates in general. And that's when I thought, I can really bring this to my clients, and my clients started having amazing results. We started removing preservatives, removing the added sugars and everything like that. And yes, and success, really, faster results, easier to adapt to their lifestyles. The cravings will subside after a few days, and you will feel amazing, honestly. So I hope, Idavani, that answers your question. The next one is, how much fruit can I eat? Great. So how much fruit can you eat during the 7 days? I actually will say that you're allowed to have 2 fruits a day Okay, but it's not as in, oh, I can have 2 fruits and then I can also have some honey and then I can also have some maple. And no, I want you to have natural sugars, of course, no added sugars, but you are going to have the equivalent of 2 serves of fruit a day in sugars. So your plans are all adapted to that. If you have any questions, post in the group. I had Louise send me a message earlier to ask me about a recipe, which was a mint slice patty, which is all raw and it wasn't too bad as a snack. But during the challenge, it was actually a bit too much, because what I want you guys to think about is not just the sugars. What is actually that sugar delivering to you on top of the sugars? So is it a negative calorie? What is a negative calorie? Negative food, really, not negative calorie, but like negative food is one that your body is going to burn more energy than you're consuming it. So say an apple, for instance, you are going to have not your added sugars, you're going to have your sugars, your natural sugars, but you're also going to have fiber. You're also going to have quite a few other amazing vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are really going to counteract the sugar. I hope this is making sense. So it's not really the sugar for the sugar. It's really what is surrounding that sugar. What gives you, you've heard me say this before, and I say this a lot, what's going to give you the best calorie bang, or the best bang for your calorie buck, or the best calorie bang for your buck. So just think about that. Always think about the quality of the food you're eating and not the quantity of the sugar and things like that. I hope that makes sense. So with the fruit wise, I'd say 2, but if you are having other, natural sugars around it, then you counteract with the sugars in the fruit. Just pop it in the group. We are all here to help each other. I am here to answer any questions that you will have. So I have other people in the group as well that have gone through this as well, and they know a little bit of it, so they can help out when they can as well. We're all about the supportive around each other. Great. Next question is from a friend of mine in Brazil, which is this a low carb diet? Okay, so here's the deal. Carb is not really just sugars, right? You've probably read it in my ebook. Carb, you're going to have the complex carbs and the simple carbs. Well, this is just an easy way to tell them apart. So the simple ones will be like your sugars that go straight in your bloodstream, spike up your blood levels and whatnot. Your complex carbs will be, say, your fiber and other carbohydrates that will have that slow release, okay, of sugar into your bloodstream. So in turn, you're not going to have that sugar high and then, you're actually going to have that sustained energy. So it is not a low carb diet per se, because you are still having carbohydrates, because carbohydrate is really important for your energy. Okay, and a lot of your hormones and things like that, they will need that to get the energy so that they can be manufactured as well, right? So don't forget about, the fact that you should just eat the smart carbohydrates, the carbohydrates that will have that slow release. And yes, it might be that a few days you might have less carbs than on a regular day, but, it's not specifically a low carb diet. Okay, this is not a diet. I hate the word diet. This is actually just a quick 7-day detox so that you get your body rid of that sugar cravings, to get your body rid of that, of what, you're used to with that. Just give it a shock to your body. And that's the good thing about the 7 days. And, you have the ebook now, you have the group, you can come back at any time. And, after Easter, I'm going to run the second round as well. So I guess we all going to need a sugar detox after Easter. I myself do this specific detox 3 to 4 times a year, depending, because, guys, we're not perfect. A lot of the times you're going to eat out and things will come. And yes, you're going to have some wine, which brings me to the next question. It's fine. It's just to watch out and implement in your life. It's not one day that is going to impair on the other 365, especially if you have a reset like this one. Awesome. Next question is gluten-free a better carb option? Okay, so let's get something straight. Whether you're a celiac or not a celiac, I have a lot of clients who are going through a gluten-free eating regime. Okay, so what that does is that some of my clients actually have an issue with inflammation. Okay, and they found that gluten causes them inflammation. Personally, I still have gluten in my diet. Is not the entire time that I have it. I do go for other healthier options, especially if it's if it's a whole meal and things like that, because I just eat everything in moderation. But I tell people that you need to do what we call an elimination diet. If you go without gluten for 1 to 2 weeks, and then when you reintroduced on the 3rd week, if it causes you bloating or gas or, anything like that, then maybe gluten might be something that you can avoid. What is gluten? Gluten is a protein, right? It is a protein found in cereals. So it's not like it's something like, oh my God, it's something that's, it's going to cause me to lose weight. No, it's not. Okay, so going gluten-free is not going to cause you to lose weight. Just bear in mind that a lot of gluten-free foods, because they have to use different ingredients, it is pretty much packed with other sugars and other trans fats and margarine. So just bear in mind that when you go gluten-free, you do it for your health and not because you want to lose weight. And always look at the back of pack. I cannot stress that enough. The back of pack is where you will find specifically the ingredient listing, because that brings me to the next point. It's not a question, but it brings me to the next point. The next point is every time that you're eating out, you can just see what is in it. If it is something like balsamic vinegar, balsamic vinegar, a lot of the times they do have to add some sugars, but a lot of times it's so minuscule that it's okay. Don't get too bogged down about it, But if you are just buying food in the supermarket, look at the back of pack. I'm going to post down the names of sugar that you can find. Anything saying syrup, not maple syrup, which is also sugar, but it's a better sugar. But anything saying like a rice malt syrup or, glucose, sucrose, even lactose. Did you guys know lactose is a sugar? But it is a natural sugar, right? It's from dairy, so it's the sugar from dairy. I personally am lactose intolerant, so I can't have lactose. Anyway, so there you go. That's another reason why I started researching about sugars anyway. So the next question I have here, I hope that is answering a lot. I'd love you guys to just give me either a thumbs up or just write down whether that's resonating, or if you guys are understanding what I'm saying, or if there's anything else I need to cover. Thank you. So the next one is a question from Vicky, which is, what's my view on wine? Is it a no-go? Is organic any better? Are dry wines lower in sugar? My choice would usually be a Chardonnay, light red, e.g. Pinot Noir, or heavier Shiraz. Okay, so wine is, I get it, but it is, my issue with wine is alcohol. Alcohol, at the end of the day, just think about that. Fat actually delivers 9 calories per gram of, 9 calories per gram, and alcohol delivers 7 calories per gram. So even though wine would be okay on a regular basis, having 1 glass of wine, a week or whatnot, it should be okay. I don't really have a view on should I remove wine. My view is everything in moderation, except when we're doing a reset. When we are doing a reset, it's 7 days of your life. So 7 days of your life, you can go without a glass of wine. But my view on wine is everything in moderation. That's my view on everything, okay? If it's something that you cannot live without is wine, then, who am I to tell you not to have wine for the rest of your life? Of course, I would usually prefer the red wines if you're asking me which ones I prefer. Nutritionally speaking, not, taste-wise, because I'm really not a drinker. And if I do drink, will be at Christmas or whatever. And And personally, I like the spritz. I've just been introduced to the Aperol spritz, so that's wine. But one at Christmas, that's what I had. So that's what I mean. I'm not a drinker, so I usually recommend the red wines. They actually have more antioxidants. They have some resveratrol in them, which is a great antioxidant that will help you as well, you know, your skin and whatnot. So it's a little bit anti-aging, to be honest. There isn't anything with scientific evidence per se, because for you to actually use wine as anti-aging, you'd have to have like 49 glasses a week or something. And please don't do that. That's not the exercise here, okay? So if weight loss is your goal, I'd say keep a close eye on the wine. But after this 7-day, I would say red wine better than white in this, in this sense. I hope that makes sense. I know Vicky is not able to come to the live today, so she will hopefully watch it and let me know if this resonates. Now, Louise, the gorgeous Louise, she wrote balsamic vinegar as salad dressing. So she asked me whether she could have balsamic vinegar as salad dressing. I would recommend, if you actually do want a salad dressing, you can just make up yourself with a little bit of olive oil. You can just mix the balsamic vinegar in the olive oil. So that way you're not actually splashing out balsamic vinegar, but you're actually mixing them both together, adding some herbs and creating your own. I really like that. I have a Greek salad dressing I make sometimes, and it's all natural, really. It's all ingredients you find in your pantry. So you can, I can more than happy to write down here. I have another question. Hope you don't mind me saying Louise. Louise also asked me today about going to the gym. So she goes to the gym and she actually drinks an electrolyte solution after the gym or in the evening and things like that. For the purpose of the reset, please be mindful that even added fructose, it's still added sugar. Even though it is a natural sugar, I would still say look at the best bang for your calorie buck. What's going to give you? Is it only sugars? So you don't really need that. So have a look at coconut water, for instance, if you want an electrolyte solution. Okay, it's a very natural and it's very low in sugars. Or you can also have kombucha. Kombucha, there's a tea called kombucha. I don't know if you guys know of it. It's a fermented tea. They do add sugars in it. It is added sugars, I get it, but the bacteria in the kombucha will eat those sugars. It's very low in sugars anyway. So yeah, you can do that as well if you're thinking of, what drink can I have? I usually recommend making your own infused waters. Infused waters are the best. You can just add anything to them and making sure that it's to your taste, but you keep that water intake up, because it is going to be better for you if you drink at least 2.5. It's so hot here in Sydney. It's very cold in England. I get it, to the English peeps, but if you're here in Sydney and Melbourne, I think it's very hot and humid at the moment, and on the Gold Coast it's always hot and humid, so I'm not even going to, so if you need to have an electrolyte solution, just have some coconut water or make your own infused water as well. That's good. And you can make your own electrolyte solution drink. More than happy to post in the group an electrolyte solution that I make at home, and it does obviously has coconut water in it. Okay, great. So the next one is organic maple syrup, because she was making them in patties. So organic maple syrup, like I said, if you're going to choose any sugars that you're going to add, then it's best to have, say, your honey or your maple syrup or things like that, if they are, minimally processed and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the honey out there is pasteurized, so it's a requirement for Australian standards. So even when you read raw honey, just see how raw it is, because it is still pasteurized. So if you want to add some stevia and erythritol, I never can get that word right, erythritol, which is it's a sugar alcohol. You can add they're usually together, stevia and the E1. Some people stumble on some words. That's the word I stumble on. So you can add that to, say, you know, your tea or whatnot if you do want to. I drink my teas without anything added, but it's entirely up to you. Another question I have coming from the tea is, can I add milk to my tea? That's from a friend of mine in England. Surprise, surprise. So I would rather you add, if you are really wanting to add milk to your tea, just add something like an almond milk. I know that like 100 ml of almond milk only has something like 3 almonds in it. It's okay, but if it's just to whiten the milk and keep it a little bit better, you know, palatable for the English peeps, then more than happy for you to do that. But if you can just have the tea by itself, it is even better, okay? Especially peppermint tea. Peppermint tea is going to start soothing your stomach, especially when you're doing this and going through this. This is not a detox that's going to make you run to the toilet. I hope you guys know that. Of course, you're going to drink more water, so you might want to pee more, but it's not really that type of cleanse, right? So it's not, I'm not going to come with a colonic and say, now today is the day we do the colonic. No, not that type of cleanse. Yes, and that brings me to the last question that I have here. So if you do have any further questions, please write in the text box, and I can answer any more for you. If not, this is the last question that I have. Is as most of you know, I'm also a coach on people on a nutritional cleansing program. They're asking me if they can still use the meal replacement shakes and things like that. And even for other peeps, if you do use meal replacement shakes, look at the back of pack, take a photo of them, post them. I want the nutrition information and the ingredient listing on the page so that I can have a look to see how much sugars are there. The Healthy Mummy ones are very low in sugar, so not too bad. You can use those. The Isogenics ones, they have the equivalent of a small apple. So if you are having that one, you're not having an apple, because get it? I hope you understood that. So don't really mix it up. If you are having, say, 2 shakes a day of Isogenics, you're not having fruit. Does that make sense? Great. So that's for that. Everything else as normal. The Healthy Mummy ones is very low in sugar, very, very low in sugar. So you can still have your 2 pieces of fruit. Okay. And I know in England, there's these other ones like, yes, that's right, Lou. So 2 shakes is your fruit for the day if you're in Isogenics, which I know you are. So in England, they have the Slimfast and all of those. I personally really dislike them. We are trying to remove all the preservatives and things like that from your diet and artificial colors and flavors. So if you do have any others, I know that in the UK, they have other ones. In the US, they have the Shakeology. So if you do have them, I'm not familiar with them. I'm familiar with Herbalife. So if you're with Herbalife as well, I do know they're very low calories. So you can probably use them as a snack, not as a meal replacement. Okay. Yeah, Carissa, Healthy Mummy. It's good. Yeah. Any particular brand of, no particular brand of almond milk. What you do is you just have a look and see whichever one tastes best for you. Make sure it's unsweetened almond milk. That's very important. Okay, unsweetened almond milk. Okay, that's very important, because we want to remove that. Great. So yeah, I guess that's all the questions I had. And if anybody has, I'm just scrolling up to see. Well, I think that's it, because I think nobody else has any more questions. I don't have any more questions anybody has given me. So the key thing is drink lots of water. Second key is make sure that you keep yourself eating every 2 to 3 hours or so. That's very important. I'm not saying weight loss wise, because I want you to use this challenge as a change in eating habits for yourself. And like Sam just said before, your healthy eating doesn't stop after 7 days. We're here to really, help you take that next move to a healthier you. But make sure that whatever worked for you during these 7 days, you keep going. And you can always revisit the 7 days after a while. After, like I said, the round 2 will be in after Easter. So, hey, there's another time for us to come and do a reset. It's very important to have this reset once in a while, because then your body goes, oh, I'm good now. I do that actually. Usually I do my resets with intermittent fasting as well. But maybe at round 2 we can try with intermittent fasting. I didn't want to do that at this time. But yeah. So thank you for coming. Any questions or anything, just pop them in the group. I'd love you to do an intro on yourselves if you haven't already. And one last thing is I am going to run a competition. So I'm sending an email with this recording with everything that, with everything that you need to do to win one spot in my membership group for free. So we have 2 competitions. We have one that is for best results, and result is not if you lost weight or whatever. I don't really care if you lost weight, to be honest. To me, is if you got healthy. And it's in 25 words or less. And the best one is going to win a spot in the group, which in my membership group, which you will continue with your healthy eating and my coaching. So that's that one. And the other one is I'm going to send you an email. Okay, so after this, so by tonight, so actually in about a couple of hours, I'll be sending you an email with this recording and a chance and what you can do for a chance to win randomly a spot in my membership group. Awesome. So thank you so much for watching. Pop down your questions, and I love having you here in the Sugar Hub, and I can't wait to see you get rid of those cravings once and for all. Thanks everyone. Bye for now. Have a wonderful day, peeps in England, and have a wonderful evening, people in Australia. Love you all. Bye for now.